Amazing audience, we are live with Janet Law. It's a great pleasure to have her. Our first morning conversation we're having. Janet, it's a great pleasure to connect with
Such
you.
a pleasure to connect with you too.
Ooh, so tell me, which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this space and time in history?
For me, I believe that I am a conduit. And so just through my own love of communication and the bond that happens between two people, that when I am able to do that in this moment, in this time, with you or with whoever, then I then can communicate out into the world the greatest thing that I can give, which is my energy, my vibration, my love, my absolute expanding self, so that I can be a conduit for good.
Who did you learn that from, that ability to share on such of an expansive level?
I think it first came actually on the moment of my birth, and that was my mother. My mother taught me, and my father, how important it was to connect. Always a hand up, not a hand out. And so from the time I was very, very small, there was always the importance of the bond. Because unless there was a healthy bond here, it was very difficult to go out into the world and feel that bond anywhere else. So I think my mother was the one, and my father, but
Your mother more directly,
more directly, yeah.
your father indirectly.
More, a little more indirectly, but also a very conscious human being who was very committed to the bond as well. Yeah.
Why will you continue to be that person that does that?
Because I think if we're looking at the world at large right now, and I do believe I'm a global citizen, that unless we do that, then the health of the planet is affected. So if I affect the planet by my consciousness, by my level of being, then that's going to help the greater good of this planet, including everything that's around us. All the trees, all of the lovely terra firma that we stand on, the oceans, everything.
You did say you're a water gal.
I'm a water gal. I am definitely a water gal. I'm a water gal, and I love the water.
Yeah, tell me a bit more about what you do professionally.
Well, I do many things, but I would say, first of all, that I am committed to transformational education. So every day I go out into my world and I do what I can to see people, to see inside of people, and to be part of who they are by understanding more who they are. So I do that, transformational education, and there's many pieces and parts to that. But I also work with families, and I work in the healthcare profession.
Okay.
And I work as a breastfeeding counselor.
Okay.
And I also am able to work teaching classes
on transformational
education. Yeah. Okay. So I call it the resonance that goes out into the world, and so that's true commitment to myself is to understand yoga of the heart and the mind.
Interesting.
And how we embody that. So there's a great tradition in Western, culture that yoga, which comes from the East, which the Sanskrit actually means union or connection, is that there has been a series of body poses that allow a person to feel more in their body, and thus being able to listen more from the heart so that the mind can go out and do what it needs to do, putting feet on all of those wonderful things that are coming out of here. So I've done many things in my life. I worked in comedy clubs, and I used to have to take care of all of the necessary things that a comedian might need on any given night.
Which is a lot.
Yeah. I worked in promotion. And then I also worked in a spiritual center in Vancouver, Canada here, which definitely is a center where people can come and learn more about who they are, or actually uncovering more of who they are, because we all know who we are. We just kind of sometimes fall asleep and then we wake up, and we fall asleep and then we wake up.
I could agree with that.
Yeah.
What's one other thing you've done consistently over the last 3 years?
Over the last 3 years? Connection with people.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel like I'm part of this great whole expansive universe. That's how it feels. I feel that over the last 3 years that relationship comes from trust, and trust comes from creating that initial bond, so that people feel safe, so people feel comfortable when they're with you.
Yeah.
And
it's important.
It's very important. I think if there's one thing that we could all just embrace in our life, it would be the importance of that initial bond.
Yeah.
And then that spreads out into our communities, into our countries, into everything that we do. And definitely in our business world today, business is really, I think, thirsting for that, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know,
because it creates a longevity for the business.
It takes a longevity for the, absolutely.
Yeah.
Longevity happens as a result of an individual and how they see their place in that business.
Where's the best place to connect with you? Via online?
Via online, well, you can reach me on my new website that I am creating as we speak.
Right.
Yes. immediateimpressions.ca.
Okay.
Or janetlaw.ca.
I like Janet Law.
I know.
There's a ring about
There's
that name.
There's a ring about
that.
Yeah,
Janet
I know,
Law.
there is.
janetlaw.ca.
Yes.
Don't forget the CA. Yeah, .ca. Well, that's great. Well, let's switch gears for a moment. Let me now invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water.
Thank you.
What is your earliest childhood memory?
My earliest childhood memory? My earliest childhood memory is my mother singing to me.
How old were you?
I was very small.
Like what was she singing to you?
This is what she said to me. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Mama's gonna buy you a mockingbird. And the song continued. My mother was separated from me for 3 days after her birth, and she knew that she needed to develop her lungs in a room so that she could sing me the song that she knew would help with the bond, because I was in an incubator draining my lungs, healing my lungs. And so here we were in two separate places, yet we were both healing our lungs so that we could take the breath of life of each other at that time. And my mother sang me that song, and throughout our childhood, or my childhood, throughout my time, that was the song that she continued to tell. And then when our son was born, I sang him that song.
Wow.
And then when my mother passed, I tucked her in and I sang her that song for the last time. That's how strong the bond was.
How do you see that memory connecting to who you are today?
It's all about the bond. That memory is what has been the consistent thread that has weaved the tapestry of my life. That wherever you are, you can expand the bond that is in you and reach out to the person that is with you, around you, about you. And I do not believe that there's any hierarchy in this beautiful place called planet Earth. I believe we're all born of the same stuff, and we're all capable to reach whatever potential it is that you are being called to. The universe is calling, but are we listening?
That's beautiful. Love it. Love how you connected the both.
Yes.
Yeah, I know Amanda, my wife, this morning, she had a dream, that our son was kidnapped, right? And I think that will definitely help her. The understanding that she can communicate, because they're back home with our parents, that she can communicate even now she can sing to him. She
Yes.
can definitely reach him.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very powerful, very applicable.
I will tell you how that bond has traveled through the next generation, which
Sure.
is our son, my husband and I, Brian, and our son Brandon. Our son Brandon is very much a citizen of the universe.
Yeah.
And as soon as he got out of high school, he went straight to Nepal. And then after Nepal, he went to Guatemala. He's traveled everywhere, but he loves India. 2 weeks before he was to come back, very recently, they were coming down from the Himalayas in a Jeep, and they hit a slick spot, and the vehicle went out of control and was heading over the cliff. And he said, "Mom, in that moment, everything stopped. And I thought, I guess this is how I'm going.
Yeah.
I guess this will be my last breath." And then all of a sudden, he said, "I felt a presence come over me. And it was a presence that was so pure and so loving." And he said, "And I felt Grandma was there, my mother." And he said, then everything changed in a second, and the car course corrected, and they hit the wall. And when they got out and went over to look at where the skid mark was, they were about this far from going over the edge.
Wow.
So that's how powerful sometimes. I don't think it's just within this place
Realm.
we called this realm.
Yeah.
I believe there are many dimensions happening at the same time.
That's amazing. If I fast forwarded to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
Oh, my favorite song would have absolutely been an Elton John song, because he was just kind of coming out at that time.
Right.
So I would say any Elton John
Right.
song.
Choose
Yeah.
one. Choose one.
Well, your song.
Your song.
Daniel,
Yeah,
Daniel,
definitely
my
your
brother.
song.
Yeah,
Yeah,
your song.
yeah, I
and
love
I
that.
think, and maybe that's why, right?
Well, it connects, right?
might
I
connect.
mean, your mother gave you your
I'm-
song,
it-
and then you gave your son your song.
Yes.
Your song has definitely been a theme of your life.
It has definitely been a theme of my
It's
life.
amazing how these things connect, isn't it?
Yes,
I'll take a
yes.
high five right there. All right, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form, so it's yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Have
I'm
you-
ready to take it. I'm ready to take the oath. I'm ready to commit myself to this. Absolutely.
Janet, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Absolutely.
Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have children?
Yes.
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV
Yes.
for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
About 3 hours a week?
A little more than that.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Much less than 8 hours a day,
Okay.
because this is what's important.
Love that.
This is what's important.
If you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents Janet Law.
Okay, I'll tell you what it is. I, Janet Law, am a playful, loving person who empowers myself and others to be of creative service in this world.
Love it. She's done the work, folks. She's done the work. Janet Law, thank you for being on. Do you have anything else to say before we leave?
I just want to say what an honor it's been to meet one of my brothers.
Yes.
Because I do feel like you're one of my
You
brothers.
feel like my
Yeah,
sister.
you're like one of my brothers. And I just want to thank you for this great project that you're putting out into the world.
Yeah.
And as the great Bruce Lee said, be like water, my friend.
Yeah.
Go with the flow. Love everything. Love everyone. Be connected to everything, and your life will be transformed.
I love it. Amazing audience. Janet Law. Janet, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Kaboom!